Have no fear, Amy Rose is finally here. This figure has been released for like, I don't know, August, September. And this figure was very hard for me to find. Like, none of my Target stores were carrying the latest wave of the Jakks specific Sonic the Hedgehog 4-inch figures. And when they did, I did not find Amy. But luckily, I was able to finally obtain her at a local Target of mine. So now let's get on to reviewing Amy Rose. As for Amy's packaging, it is, besides having the 30th anniversary like labels on it, I'm pretty sure this Sonic render is different. And I think the background is also different, because I think the backgrounds have like screenshots from past Sonic games. Cool. I guess it kind of makes the 30th anniversary label slightly justified, and I could totally see Amy getting a re-release in the next couple waves, meaning that this Amy with the 30th anniversary box might go up in value someday. So yeah, so the 30th anniversary packaging, not too different from the standard ones, but it does get the job done. I know the original releases of the action figures' first wave had like a Sega 60 label on it, you know, to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Sega. So here's the back. There is a picture of her. It says the figure has 11 points of articulation, and there's some description. I'll read the one in English, and it says, a pink hedgehog who wields a huge hammer called the Pico Pico Hammer. Weird, it doesn't mention Amy's name. And then here are the other figures from the latest wave. We have neon-colored versions of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. The Neon Sonic comes with a yellow emerald, the Neon Tails comes with a 10-ring container, and the Neon Knuckles comes with a checkpoint. All these accessories you can get on other characters, I guess except for the yellow emerald. I guess the yellow emerald is technically new, it's just some of the same mold in a different color. So now let's open up the first ever female Sonic character from the 4-inch line and have a closer look at her. So it's been about 2 years since Jakks Pacific got the license to make Sonic the Hedgehog toys, and it's been almost, if not a full year, since Jakks Pacific released their action figures. So, Jakks, what took you guys so long to finally release Amy Rose, so far our only female character in the 4-inch line? Honestly, I have no idea. For some very odd reason, Amy Rose is always left out when it comes to Sonic toys. Maybe it's just because she's a girl, or maybe it's just because her personality can be kind of annoying to some. I'm not really so sure why she's always left out of merchandise. I mean, usually when people make toys for the Sonic series, they always make Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and maybe Eggman once in a while. But Amy, she's always left out. And that's kind of disappointing, because I kind of think she's a sweet character, despite, some people thinking she's annoying because she sort of stalks Sonic. But yeah, so here's Amy compared to the other guys. I feel like Amy is a little too big, but I personally am a doubt. I think for someone who just wants someone to display your Sonic figures, I doubt you would care. And I actually don't care about her looking a little too big either. At least it's not as apparent as Tails' height, since he's always supposed to be shorter than Sonic, but for some toys they make him the same height, and it doesn't look that good. But Amy, it looks passable. And for more comparison's sake, here is the Toy Island Dr. Robotnik figure. And so yeah, so all the major characters are now complete. And I am not asking for any figures in particular, so that's all on you to decide what figures you want for this line. Because I know a lot of people really want Rouge the Bat, or Cream the Rabbit, or a lot of other female characters. Not just female characters, but like other characters like the Chaotix and all that. Personally, I wouldn't be upset if they didn't make them. I mean, I would like them I would like to see them happen, but I would care less if they didn't make them. Because really, I'm only wanting just Sonic, Knuckles, Amy, Tails, and to some extent, Dr. Eggman. But the Jakks specific Eggmans with my Jazzwares and Tomy figures at the moment, so that's why I have the Toy Island figure on screen instead. And he scales better with the Jakks specific characters. So yeah, I'm gonna move everyone out of the way. Hi, I'm actually filming this scene after I finished recording everything, but I kind of forgot to do this. But there is one more figure I do want to compare this new Jakks Amy figure with, and that is the Sonic Adventure Amy Rose figure from the Resource line. This Amy figure came out as part of Resource's Sonic Adventure line in 2000, and this was one of the last figures that they made before the company went out of business in 2001. And she doesn't stand good. So yeah, so you can definitely see a evolution progress between our first modern Amy figure and the latest modern Amy figure that we have. And yeah, I do have some Resource figures as like substitutes, because the Resource figures do work well with the Jakks specific figures, at least scaling wise. I mean, sure, the Resource figures do look a little odd compared to you know these new Jakks figures that are more on model. The Adventure figures were more based off of the 2D artwork rather than like the 3D renders at the time. But regardless, the Resource figures do scale well with the Jakks specific figures. In fact, I actually used these Resource figures. I bought some Resource figures as like substitutes for certain Jakks figures, because before Jakks specific made action figures, I bought the Resource Tails for my Bendy Sonic. This isn't the Bendy Sonic, but just pretend it is. I originally bought that Resource Tails figure because I thought he scaled much better with the Jakks specific Bendy figures than the Bendy Tails did, because their Bendy Tails was the same height as all the other characters. Like, all the characters were usually around the same height, and I just wasn't a fan of that. So that's why I bought this Resource Tails figure for a really good price. It was like $15. It was like an auction. Same reason as to why I bought the Amy figure, but unlike Tails, there wasn't an Amy figure out at the time, so that's why I bought the Resource Amy figure, because, well, the Resource figures were kind of in scale with the Jakks figures, and since I really wanted an Amy in my collection, I bought this figure for like less than $20. But now that we have more highly accurate, more accurately scaled figures of Amy and Tails, there's actually no reason for me to keep the Resource figures. I might sell them someday. I don't have any real plans on selling them at the moment, but someday I might sell them. I will let you guys know in a future video. So back to the regular review. Now let's take a look at Amy Rose's accessory. She comes with the Pico Pico hammer, and it's made of a really hard plastic. And it's hollow. And thankfully, she does have a holding hand, so she can grip the hammer with no problem. I mean, I guess maybe just because, you know, the hands are made of a really hard rubber, you know, that's why she's able to fit the hand much better. And yeah, even if I stand her, she doesn't fall over when she's holding the hammer. Now, granted, they did shrink the hammer to probably fit in the packaging or something, but I actually personally don't mind, especially since you know, it still makes for a good accessory for Amy, since she could still hold the hammer without falling over. I think that's one problem that I think Jazzwares did with their 3-inch Amy figure, is that the hammer, even though it was accurately sized, it was too big for Amy not to fully carry. You would probably have to get her in a specific pose for her to hold her hammer. But for Jakks Amy, she does a pretty good job holding her hammer, even if it is smaller than it should be. So, let's take a look at her sculpt. This was the only Amy I could find at Target, so unfortunately there are some paint flubs. Some I didn't even notice, like her muzzle is pretty white, but you probably wouldn't notice that. There's also like a paint scratch on the boot, which I didn't notice mainly because I probably couldn't see that in the packaging. And there's also like some yellow that's blending in with the glove. Again, a lot of these are not that noticeable. Besides that, I probably might just have to repaint that over. So yeah, Amy Rose, this is probably the best looking Amy figure I've ever seen. I know Tomy was originally going to release a metal plate pack with modern and classic versions of Amy and Eggman, but sadly those were never released. Like, if there was any Tomy figure that I would uncancel, it would be those metal plate packs, because we would have had the major characters completed, but sadly Tomy only made Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and those were the only major characters that they made. But with Jakks Pacific, we finally have all the major characters, and I am very happy that they did that. I'm really happy that they made Amy, because in case if you are living under a rock, Jakks Pacific kind of has a bad reputation when it comes to female representation in their quote-unquote boys toy lines. It's not just Sonic the Hedgehog, but also World of Nintendo, and I bet some of their other quote-unquote boys lines have this problem too. And I mean, it was pretty flexible with World of Nintendo, because we used to get like figures of Samus Aran, the Inkling Girl, Peach, Zelda, and ever since the line became mostly Mario and a little bit of Zelda, it was kind of when they kind of stopped making female characters. So it kind of felt like there was a lack of female representations, especially since there are a lot of iconic female characters in the Mario universe, like Princess Daisy, Rosalina, Birdo, and all that. So I know there was a campaign, for fans of the Nintendo franchises to convince Jakks on social media to make more figures. And thankfully, I think it kind of paid off, since we recently got a Super Mario 3D World 3 pack that contained an exclusive Cat Peach figure, which will be getting a single pack release in a future wave. And they're also making 2.5-inch figures of Princess Daisy and Wendy-O Koopa. And out of all the Koopalings to be made in the 4-inch figures, I think Wendy is probably next. And so, as for the Sonic the Hedgehog line, this is our first ever female character in the 4-inch line. Not sure how true it is on the 2.5-inch line, since Chows don't have any specific genders, so some of them can be male, some can be female. But in terms of like the 4-inch line, I think Amy is probably the first to be female. Which, again, what took Jakks so long? I mean, I don't understand why Amy is always left out when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog merchandise, because she's a cute character, and I like her. You wouldn't have her without Sonic or Tails or Knuckles. I mean, I think she's as important as those other characters, especially since like Sonic CD is an important game to the series because it introduced her, as well as Metal Sonic. And even then, Sonic CD like doesn't get as much representation as Sonic 1, 2, and 3. Maybe it's just because Sonic CD wasn't on the Mega Drive or Genesis, so maybe that's why Sonic CD is always left out. Like, I even remember the opening cutscene of Sonic Mania, where Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles goes into like an elevator, and they push the Mania button, like all the other buttons are referencing the past Sonic games. Sonic CD was not referenced. It was just Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. It's like Sega is deliberately saying that Sonic CD never happened, which obviously isn't true. But thankfully, Sonic CD will be getting a re-release in a new Sonic collection coming to the Switch. I think it's also coming to other consoles, but I know it's coming to the Switch because I have a Nintendo Switch. So yeah, so Sculpt is amazing. The paint job on mine could have been a lot better. But yeah, so Articulation, her head rotates. Look left and right. A little bit up and down. Not really. I mean, it's not even on a ball joint. But at least her head, even though she does have her hair or spines, I mean, at least her head is more movable than Knuckles, because Knuckles, his dreadlocks are like really hard. But at least for Amy, like, they made the improvement of making them softer. Universal joints and shoulders, they go up and down, forwards and backwards. And then wrists are ball jointed. And then her hips, see her white underwear. Her hips go forward and backwards, and they can also lunge out like this, which I think is pretty unique. I think that's one thing that's really cool, is that, I mean, you won't see her lower half because it's covered by the skirt, so it doesn't really matter if her hips looks a little weird, because at least it kind of gives you a free range of articulation. So then knees, they bend down, and then they can also rotate. And then boots are ball jointed. So yeah, so she has exactly the same points of articulation as all the other characters. Yeah, let me put her hammer again, just for display purposes. So yeah, for the most part, I am really happy of the way this Amy figure turned out. Because, I mean, okay, my problems with the figures first. The problems I have with Amy is that the paint job on my figure could have been a lot better, and that's kind of basically it. Oh yeah, and her scaling could have been a little bit better. But in general, would I recommend Amy? Absolutely, because she has an amazing sculpt. She has a great accessory that, that stays on her hand really well, and she won't fall off. And again, she does scale decently with the other characters. So overall, I am really happy about the way this Amy figure turned out. I really hope this influences Jakks Pacific to make more female characters for the Sonic the Hedgehog line. Maybe not a Rouge the Bat. I mean, I probably could make a video as to why we won't get a Rouge the Bat action figure anytime soon or something. But I'm not asking for like any characters personally. I just want the main 5 characters. But yeah, so that is it for this video. Thank you for watching it, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Sonic reviews. I'll see you then.